Hello, everyone. Oh, look at that hair. Thing is, I just started the other video accidentally. I just wanted to see how it looked with the lighting. Um, but I think the lighting is okay like this. So there you are. So I got the extra channel that I can see what's going on right here, which is going on my phone, which is going well. Yeah, well, you'll have to do with the hairdo. I don't think many watch people are considered with the hair that much anyway. So, can I see if I'm alive in a sense that everybody can hear me? Because I can see that somebody was waiting, but now if I look who is watching, I see a 0. So, is there anything going on that I should know? I think okay. And so I'll put something in this chat. Say hello, and then I know that there are at least 1 or 2 people watching, which is okay. If there's no one watching, I'll just make this video and maybe I'll be done in about 10 minutes and we'll make another live stream on another time that might have more people watching. So yeah, let's just be sure, because I've had this before and it's always the same thing with a live show. YouTube live show is not very handy. It sometimes just does what it say I want to do itself. And I don't want that. Yeah, I'm public. It says travel and events. That's fine for me. Audience, not for kids. So there's an age restriction going on, I think. No, there's not an age restriction. So you'll probably be able to just see me. Yeah, everything looks okay. So we'll see who is coming on in a moment. So I can see somebody watching now. North Star is there. Hi, mate. How are you doing? Got a cup of coffee. I think I said it at the beginning of the video. After my video today, I was so tired. I had a lot of stuff done, so I went to bed actually for. I wanted to go to bed for about 20 minutes, and I fell asleep for an hour and a half. So I just woke up like 15 minutes ago. So I was able to make myself a coffee and start live show now. And I think I had about 200 views already on the Pelagos 39mm video that I made, including a remark from North Star, which is always welcome, of course. I still got the reply to that one, I think, and all the other ones. It was a video that went quicker than many of my other videos in the last year or so. And I said that before. It's funny, if I make a 5 video about watches, it cost me 5 minutes to make. Uploading is about 2 minutes, and I'll get 200 views. And if I make a travel video that sometimes costs me 10 hours to edit, I'm happy if I get like 50 views. Wait, there's somebody saying something to me. Let me just check if that is in line with like the, where are you? I can't see you. No, okay, that's going well. That's going well. So yeah, I'm in Ireland at the moment. I arrived in Ireland 3 weeks ago, and it was funny though. I had 3 brilliantly sunny weeks. Un-Irish, so much sun. I think I had maybe 5 hours of rain total, of which 4 hours at night. So I did, if you know Ireland a little bit, you get the southwest part of Ireland is the most touristic part. And I did the Ring of Beara, I did the Ring of Kerry, then I went to Dingle, then I went up to Tarbert, took the ferry up, and I made my way through Burren to Achill Island, and now I'm somewhere in the center of Ireland. I'm looking for a house to accommodate me, which is interesting because Ireland is not the easiest place to find a house. You can find houses, but you have to work from home. Ooh, nice coffee. You have to work from home, because if you don't, you have to stay near to the cities. And just like in any country, if you want to be here close to Dublin, or let alone in Dublin, you're going to pay so much money just to be in a city that I could have probably spent all the money I still have left from the travel in about 6 months just to live in the city. So what I'm trying to find now is a place, and I've been having some correspondence with a few people to stay here for about 3 to 6 months in a rent apartment, some nice little house somewhere in not far away. And in the meantime, get the bus handle, because I have to get the bus on Ireland's Irish license plate. Then I have to insure it again, of course. Then I have to officially emigrate from Holland. So then I'll have to get health insurance and the whole thing. And of course, I'll have to do everything alone. So, and the job is coming, probably within a month, 2 month max. If not, I'll have to find another job. Now, that won't be that much of a problem, but since I want to work from home, you never know where that might end up. And then after 6 months, I want to find myself some nice little cottage here in Ireland and do it up, get some new, I don't know, refurbish it, get some new wallpaper in there and so on, and live here probably for the rest of my life. So I'm really anxious to get things going here. And it's been a wild, what is it? It's now September. So it's been a wild last 9 months. Ever since, of 10 months actually, ever since I sold the house 14 December. I sold it earlier, of course, but 14 December 2021 was the date I left my house to start living with a friend for 2 months. And then in February, of course, Valentine's Day, I started my European trip. And unfortunately, and I see North Star is watching, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to go from Germany to Denmark and from Denmark to Sweden and Norway. And then from there on to England, Scotland, to Ireland. So I missed 5 countries. And that was because when I was in Germany, I had to go back to Holland because of a death in family, which will result in an inheritance. And that is something complicated as well, because there's a lot of people involved with a lot of, wishes and I don't know the English word for it anyway. But there's a lot of people involved with a lot of things that I want. So that inheritance will probably take about a year for it to get out to everyone. And then I hope I might be able to have just enough money to get like a big part of my cottage paid. So yeah, that will be really good. And North Star says, missed meeting me in Denmark, wanker. Yeah, well, that's fucked, and but I couldn't say, you know what, I wanted to have a bit of wanking in Denmark, so I didn't come to the funeral or something like that. And I could have gone afterwards, but I spoke to somebody in Holland as well. I mean, I could have gone to Denmark, but I spoke to somebody in Holland as well who went to Sweden, uppermost part in Sweden, to make a picture of some kind of a bird. And this man told me he paid €2.60 for every liter of diesel. And since, especially if you go to Sweden and Norway, you could drive there for probably 4 or 5 days just to get to the top and spend like 3 tanks on just getting to a certain part in Sweden. That would mean, I don't know, 80 times 2.6 times 3 or 4, and then the same amount back. That was just horrible. That would have been such a big price to pay for visiting a country. So hopefully next year or the year afterwards, when there's going to be a little bit less to pay for the gasoline and diesel, if the war's over in Eastern Europe and there's going to be some gas and diesel coming in again, I'm definitely sure to go visit Scandinavia, because I mean, it's from the 11 countries I visited in the last 10 months, which were, of course, Holland, Belgium, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Slovenia, Czech Republic, Germany, and Ireland. There was only one that I hadn't visited before, which was Slovenia. So from the 11 countries, I only didn't visit Slovenia earlier. So, and Denmark, Sweden, Norway, those would be 3 countries I'd never visited before. So I'm definitely going to come back to those. American Stranger says, hi, Guido. Hi, American Stranger. Good to see you here. Hope that the timing of me with the live show, 7:30 here, is not too bad. Depends a little bit on where you are. If you're in Europe, you're going to probably be okay. If you're in the US, you're 6 hours later or so on. So it might be after midnight. I still don't really understand all the time zones, or I don't know them by heart. Scout 1874 says wristwatch check, please. Well, I don't own a Hamilton, but yeah, of course, I'm still wearing the Pelagos Gen 1. Look how nice that goes in the shade of the light coming from the side of my laptop. Because I'm actually filming this for my new laptop that I bought before I left, and I think the quality is kind of good. It's a bit of a strange light, but if I turn off the light, you just only see backlight. So maybe when it gets a little bit darker, I can tune it down a little bit, because now I'm just melting. Yeah, to the Pelagos first generation, and like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a bit of a polarization watch because it's the first generation. It's got the ETA in it, and many people are still going like, "Oh no, but I want to have in-house movements." And it was kind of funny when I made the video today. I didn't know it was going to go that fast, but supposedly I think there's a lot of people nowadays looking for, how do you say, very like the latest watch videos. I think when we all started out, and Tom would, North Star would say the same. When we started out 10 years ago, even up to 5 or 4 years ago, if you put a watch video up, nobody really cared. I think a lot of watch lovers only, like in the last 5 years, discovered YouTube as probably the primary source of information about watches. That's the time that so many other watch channels came up. I mean, we only had a few back then, which was Archie Luxury, and later TGV became big. But that's kind of it. And now you got all these watch channels that came after everybody who was already going down or stopping. And now I see this Dutch guy, Nico. He's doing very well in the last few years. I think he's bypassed everybody, being such the thing is, I like these watch channels when there's rants. That's why everybody started out with Archie Luxury. It was just great to see somebody go completely crazy over a watch or whatever. Nowadays, and it's kind of a bit of the sign of the times, it's more a bit of the influencer lifestyle that I see. And I think this Nico does it a bit as well, like going to Dubai, high-fiving other watch lovers. And Amsterdam Vintage Watches did this also, until they were a bit criticized for being a little bit posh, smoking cigars and new suits, going like, "Hey, we're the man, we're from Amsterdam, we're doing well," And I think it rubbed some people the wrong way. I think you should see it as it is. It's a bit of a joke, but it's also like a bit snobbish, and snobbish is kind of similar or almost none. It's like sticking on the whole watch thing anyway. But at the end of the day, the majority of the people who want watches or just want to talk about watches, and I don't think many people, especially the older and a bit wiser people, are not wanting to drool all over somebody going to Dubai and showing off like, "Look who I met, and I met this watch guy, and I'm talking to that watch guy with 10 Rolexes and 15 Pateks." And it's like, for me, it's always like the same with the guy who has 50 Ferraris in his garage. He wouldn't know which one to drive. While the one who's got one, worked hard for it, and keeps it in top-notch condition, knows whatever is under the hood, knows everything about that car, for me, is far more interesting to watch than somebody who just rubs with the rich. Like I said, if you can't strike up a normal conversation with anyone, I don't care if he's a multimillionaire or a poor guy. We're all our shit is brown, isn't it? So anyway, Scott says it's a beautiful watch. He bought a Longines Conquest on the strength of your reviews. All right, so you probably bought the quartz one then, I think. I actually sold that watch already like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I think 3 years ago. It's a brilliant watch. I mean, it's almost, I feel almost sad about selling it, because it's that Longines Conquest, and I must say the quartz Longines, it is so accurate. It's so spot on accurate. And now they even have a more accurate one because there's the VPH or something. But I think the Longines quartz is one of the best out there. Now, I don't know if they make them themselves or that they buy it in from a very good Swiss quartz watchmaker. But I remember that it was on the same level, or maybe even better than my quartz Grand Psycho, the SBG X115, which is in a safe in Holland, so can't show you that one. That watch, yeah, it was like 1 second wrong every 4 months or something. That Longines was really, really good. There's nothing bad I could say about the watch, except that maybe if you watched my other video today that I'm talking about Arabic numerals on a dial, I think the Longines had a 6 and a 12 at least on the dial. All right, that really didn't bother me that much, to be honest. But yeah, if you got like a Rolex Explorer that has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the inner ring also still some numbers 15, 30, 45. It's just like I think it looks childish in a sense. Now, that is completely subjective, of course. You might really like numbers on a dial, but I hate numbers on a dial. Just give me some nice markers. I like that this one doesn't even have a 10 on the bezel. It just has 20, 40. What is it? 20, 30, 40, and 50. Love it. Tom says, you think the Rolex bubble has bursted? Well, honestly, I haven't been paying too much attention on the market at the moment. I don't think the bubble has burst yet because I think there would have been more videos coming by. I heard the prices are going down a little bit, but I still think if wherever I was in Europe, right? I was in Ljubljana, I was in Seville, I was in Graz, and everywhere I went to see, and Dresden and so on, everywhere I was to have a look at the watches, the Rolex were not available. It always says display only, not for sale. I think that's a bit of BS because if you bring enough money and you go inside, or you got, if you're a film star or whatever, you go inside, you can buy that watch. I think you can. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of silly if you see all those empty Rolex displays, or it says only for display, only not for sale. It's like, why do you still have a boutique if you're not going to sell anything? It almost comes across like a scheme to whitewash some money. There's in Holland, there's some groups that have a lot of money made from hash trades everywhere, and they'll open a shop somewhere in a very for example, they'll open a pencil shop in the center of Amsterdam, one of the most expensive parts of Amsterdam, and you go like, there's no way you can make money opening a pencil shop in the center of Amsterdam. And so you just know that it's a great way to whitewash money. And it's almost like Rolex is doing that with all these big boutiques everywhere with watches they're not selling. So, and I think it's a pain working for Rolex as well. So everybody who comes in, you have to disappoint. You have to say, oh, sorry, we don't have the watch. No, sorry, we can't sell you this watch. Oh, do you really want to try it on? Because I have to go inside the shop window. I have to take it out. You can't buy it anyway. Can't you just have a look from outside? It's almost as stupid, which I said in the No Mega Squatch video, is, if you're selling a watch and you don't have it in stock and you don't know when you're going to have it in stock, it must be horrible for a salesman. If you're a true salesman, what you want is sell. Right? That's your profession. That's what you want to do. So if you can't sell anything because it's just not there, like the Moon Swatch, it must be just frustrating, especially if you work in a Swatch shop and you've been selling Swatch watches to happy customers for years and years. And suddenly you have this big group of luxury watch people coming in every day asking for a particular kind of watch, which you don't have. And you can smell it a mile away what the question is going to be. And you say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have it. And always get the reply from, no, fucking hell, fucking shit. Why can't I get a watch that I want? And then some people are like online on Facebook as well. Oh, I found my Moon Swatch. Yeah, I bought the yellow one because that was the only one they had. And I'm like, there was only one that I wanted, which was the Saturn one. But in all honesty, and that's me, and you probably know that's me. If everybody goes left, I tend to go right. Yeah, it's too popular. The watch is just too popular. I mean, so many people want to have that watch. And in a sense, I thought it would be a great watch if you don't want to have a Speedmaster Professional or you wanted to have a beater Speedmaster Professional, you would get that one. But I think there's a load of people who can't really afford themselves a Speedmaster Professional and then buy the second best thing, which is a moon swatch. I would say just get something completely different at all if that's your reasoning, or save up for a Speedmaster, or just say bye to the Speedmaster and buy yourself a good Psycho. Because this moon swatch, from what I've seen, I think the guy from Bark and Jack as well told it, his pusher broke off. Supposedly you can't service it. It's got 30-meter water resistance. It's like, wow, for 250 euros, you still expect a decent watch. I would have liked a moon swatch to be maybe 1,000 euros and get like a really expensive swatch instead of a very, very cheap Omega, if you know what I mean. All right. Scout 1874 says VHB accurate to 5 seconds a year, ETA movement. Yeah, and the same as the Grand Psycho, the SBGX 115 that I have is also the Grand Psycho movement. I think it was the 61 and then some other numbers. That was also guaranteed to 5 seconds a year and a service every 50 years. Yeah, 5 seconds a year. I mean, Jesus. You could spend 10 years without setting it, right? If the battery would last for 10 years, you'd be okay. You wouldn't even mention a minute. Like I said in the other video, this is about 8 to 10 seconds slow a day. And that's because it hasn't had a service. And I've been wearing it for 10 years. And I saw quickly in the comments on the other videos, like, oh, just send it in for a service, man. You have to do it. And I'm not really sure why, because I don't care that I have to set it like every week. If it goes like 15, 20 seconds a day, yeah, then it's time to send it off for service. But again, ETA, so especially 2824/2, I spoke to a watchmaker. He says this is the automatic movement we all start with. So every watchmaker will have parts and will be able to service it. I've got to be careful with this coffee, because this is the coffee I always drank in Holland. Vienna, Wiener Melange Vienna mix. And even though it's called Vienna mix, you can only get it in Holland. So I brought 8 packs with me, and this is pack number 6 or 7 already. So, or I got to ask my friends to send me some, or go back to Holland to get some, and in the meantime, just drink normal coffee. Or Irish coffee, right? Gunny Highway says, hi, gents. Hi, Gunny Highway. Good to see you on the live show. North Star says gray market prices is going down. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you're going to pay something that is not in the watch itself, so you buy something because everybody wants it, and the whole idea that the stainless steel watch could be of more value than a gold one of the same model, then there's something wrong, right? Then there is so much demand that the value is not in the watch, and this is kind of similar to what I said in the other video. There's a difference between value and resale value. But then there's also a third component, and that's like the mind value, what people think something is worth to them. And actually, it's the way I buy anything. If it's a house or a watch, I'm like, how much am I willing to spend for this product or for this thing? Because I'm looking for a cottage here, and some people say, oh, Guido, you got to wait, because if you buy a cottage for 100,000 euros now, the prices are going to go down. So maybe in 2 years' time, you can buy that same cottage for 20,000. And other people say, no, buy now, because there's a shortage, especially here in Ireland. So in about 2 years' time, that same cottage will be 120,000. And I'm like, yeah, which is the market, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm the one putting the money down. So I should just look and go like, is that house worth 100,000 to me? Yes or no? If it is, buy it. Don't care if it goes down in 2 years. I'll still be living there, so who cares? I'm not going to sell it anyway. And it's the same with a watch. If I really, really want to have a special watch, then I'll buy it. But I buy it for myself, not to think that I'm going to make money in a few years' time. If that happens, you're just lucky. I bought my house in Holland in 2014. And in 7 years' time, the market went berserk. So when I sold in 2021, I made a good profit. I never really bought the house to make a profit. But at one point, it was so lucrative to sell it that I could actually fulfill one of my dreams, is buy a camper van and travel. Now I wanted to go to America. I wanted to go to Australia. I ended up now doing a Volkswagen T4 throughout Europe, and it's one of the best experiences I had. And last 3 weeks, I've been traveling around Ireland in that same van, and I did not spend one day in a campsite. I spent days in train stations. Call it a midlife crisis almost. Train stations. I spent time in nature, just standing there, just no, park the car somewhere near the beach. And if there was nobody there at 11 o'clock, I'll just turn off the light and go to sleep. Now, 9 out of 10 times that goes brilliantly. And once every so often, I would have cars driving around my van, or like I had here in Ireland, there's loud music, people getting out of cars, walking around the van, shouting, doo doo doo, using the horn and the lights. But, I was just pretending I was asleep. And if things go bad, I could always go out and say, "Hey guys, where's the party? Let me give you a beer." And if it would be too bad, I could have do other things, or just slowly get behind the wheel, just rip off the blinds and just take off in the car, or get out with a lead pipe that I have in the car and see who wins. So, but luckily that never happened. And I had 3 great weeks here. And if I found out I saved myself around 12 to 15,000 euros in hotel costs simply by driving from A to B. And the great thing about that Volkswagen is that it doesn't really look like a big yellow camper van, like a big fridge on wheels. So if you park up somewhere nicely and the police come, or they don't see it, or they see it and they go like, "Oh, well, that's somewhere in a corner and the guy's just there for a night. We won't bother him." That's what normally happened. I've seen police driving by my van and just not caring. But I do know if it would have been a big big white van, they would have said, "Hey, you're not allowed to stand here on the station. You have to go to a campsite because those are the rules." So, but when you're sleeping alone in a van like that, I couldn't really imagine that there would be 2 people sleeping in a Volkswagen California, though. Nice for a weekend, but not to live in it or for a few months. Gunny Highway says there was a dip in prices. Unfortunately, they are increasing already. Yeah, it will go up and down and up and down. And people say, "Oh, but what would happen? What could happen to Rolex, for example, for the prices to go down?" Now, I don't want to say something completely ridiculous, but reality is often weirder than we can actually make up. And I could, whatever. If you maybe supposedly the 2 or 3 CEOs of Rolex are connected to a pedophile ring or anything like that, it would be very uncool to wear a Rolex. Now Rolex has a bit of this bad boy image that I think Rolex has been trying to shed for years. But since it's so popular with rappers and like the nouveau riche, is that the true watch lovers are, I think, still more or less slowly going away from Rolex, or only using Rolex for the money they make out of it, not necessarily to wear them that much anymore. There's so much to choose from. And I don't know if I would have like neighbors that go like, "Yo man, I'm an influencer, I got my Rolex Submariner." I got a Rolex Submariner. I wouldn't want to associate with that guy. So I'll go over to Vacheron, or I'll go over to Audemars, and even in Holland, again and again and again, people are being robbed at gunpoint. Children are being thrown to the floor in their own houses, and with their hands behind their back, with a gun against their head. And the guy would be saying to the daddy, "Now show me your safe, because I want to have your Rolexes." And all those Rolexes have been sold before they even enter the house. That's the thing. It's easier than robbing a gas station. You get somebody's Rolex, you sell it wherever, and you get good money for it. So wearing a Rolex, and the most Rolex wearers will not agree with me on this, and that's fine. We all have our own opinions. But if I see the amount of violence that goes with it, it's not like, "Give me your Rolex," and you go like, "Yeah, there you go." Now, first they hit you to the ground, knock 5 teeth out, and then they'll tell you to get your Rolex out. So just because you really like a watch, it shouldn't be the reason to get your head kicked in, and especially in Amsterdam, London, Barcelona. Oh, man. And every time I hear it that somebody got robbed, I go like, trying to find out what watch they were wearing. 9 out of 10 times it was a Submariner or a Sea Dweller or a Sky Dweller or anything like that. It's the way it is, isn't it? I mean, it's not that I want it this way. I would love that Rolex people could just wear their Rolex without any issue, but it is a big issue in Holland at the moment, and that might also influence the price in time. DAVS, oh, nice to see you back. He says, Guido, I just watching your video about the new Tudor. Surprise, surprise, you are live now. I honestly like the original Tudor Pelagos better than any other watch. Yeah, it's now suddenly 42 millimeter is too big. I hear all these people talking, oh, you got to have a 39 millimeter. I've always heard that somewhere between 38 to 42 is the sweet spot, right? That's it. So 39 is the center of it. All right, fair enough. 39 millimeter is a great size, but we shouldn't really be bothered too much about 43, 44 millimeter even. There's people wearing Datejust of 36 millimeters. So I would even say 36 to 44 with 40 to 42 is a sweet spot. I think it depends on your wrist. I mean, if you have arms like Popeye, you can wear anything except a very small watch. And if you've got small wrists, the thing is, it might look a bit off, but the thing is, does it fit your wrist right? And many watch brands have a very good way of making the watch fit in such a way that it will fit the wrist right. And if it's bigger or smaller, some people have a big phone, others have a small phone, some people have a big car, other people have a small car. I don't really mind that much, as long as it's not like, wearing a clock on your wrist or wearing a tiny, you had those ring watches at one point that you're wearing that on your wrist. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's what suits you nice. I mean, your eyes might not be that good anymore, so you want to have rabbit numerals or big hands on a watch just to be able to see the time right. So, yeah, it's the size. It's nice, but it's not the decisive thing for me. The Grand Seiko have, again, the SBGX 115 is 42.7. I think it was 42.7. But it wears smaller because it's thinner and it hugs the wrist pretty well. Now, if the lugs don't hug the wrist, yeah, that's what I said, and a lot of people do this. When they measure a watch, they go like, oh, how wide is it? Is it too big if I look like this? But the only thing that's actually interesting is this. It should fit like this. It doesn't matter how wide it is. It's a matter how tall it is, because you don't want to have it dancing around the wrist. Yeah. So if a watch is 44 millimeter, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's not too big from lug to lug so that it will turn around your wrist, or you have this big gap at the back and the front of your wrist. The original Tudor for me, of course, I'm a bit biased, but I always know that the original is always the most popular in the end. So, or at least the original will never be the worst out of the class. So even if it's got an ETA, it will be the one that people probably will be sought after. Let me just turn the light a little bit lower, because this is, I see it's getting a little bit darker, so I can turn it down a little bit. There we go. It's better for my eyes as well. Gunny Highway says, I don't care about the Moon's watch anymore. It's a disposable plastic piece of garbage watch. Well, it's a bit of a disappointment. Yeah, it's a bit of a watch that you might want to put in your safe, because you can't wear it that often. Because if you wear it like a beater watch, which it would be the perfect Speedmaster beater watch, but since it's that fragile, yeah, where are you going to wear it? 30 meter water resistance. Gee, for €250, and they say, but the original doesn't have that either. Yeah, well, the original is a luxury watch that went to the moon. I mean, the Moon's watch is a completely new watch, which is, I would say the Moon watch is like the typical homage. But if we're talking about replicas and homages, I think the Moon's watch is like the blueprint of an homage. And it's fine, but for €250, I might want to have it just like 100 meter water resistance. But 30, nah, that's just wild. That's just not to be done. And of course, it's too popular. It's way too popular. Everybody never wore a watch suddenly wants to have a Moon's watch, saying that, oh, look, I got a cheap Speedmaster. that I don't think that's the way you should look at the Moonswatch. Just look at it as a nice little trinket that you can wear, and with a little color. And I still find it really interesting that the blue one, the Tiffany blue Moonswatch, is the mission to Uranus, which I think is a big fuck you to Rolex and Patek. If you get that color blue and you call it the mission to Uranus, yeah. Up yours is what Omega is saying with that one. Gunny Highway says, got me 3-time Casey Oaks instead. Yeah, great. Casio, great watches. Casio, it's a bit of a joke, but it's a nice looking watch, and you know it's fucking strong. You know, you can just wear it whenever you want, where you want, how you want. And if it breaks, for whatever reason, you actually you get it to break, you just buy a new one. Not sure if there are limited editions of those. I think there are, but you know, that's for some other day. And he agreed to disagree about the new Pelagos. I think Tudor has nailed it. It's one and done every day watch with a perfect balance. Well, I must say, yeah, 39 millimeters is great. I think it's great that it doesn't have to date. It's a clean watch. I think if you always wanted to have a Pelagos, but it was too big, it's a good option. But I'm not a fan of the sunburst dial, and I think honestly, besides the dial, the bezel, I gotta see it for real, of course. But I think the bezel for me would be a big letdown. Like I said in the video as well, if you've got a matte watch, titanium is not shiny. The first Pelagos is the first watch with a matte bezel with lume in it. And you know the how to call it, the hour marker ring or something with the crevices in it where the markers are laid in, that's gone with the new Pelagos as well. So there's a lot of stuff different. I think, yeah, the helium escape valve, nobody's going to worry about that. But also the clasp, it looks much more like a Rolex clasp, and I think that Tudor was really doing their own thing, and it looks like what they're doing with the Black Bay 58, the new Pelagos, is that, yeah, they are tending to be a little bit the poor man's Rolex, instead of the wild wise man's Rolex experimental kind of a thing. When the first Pelagos came out, it was like, wow, man, this is something new. This is something fresh. And it seems like they're milking it a little bit now with the Pelagos, even if it's with 39 millimeters, for a lot of people really nice. I mean, it's not a bad watch. I mean, yeah, I can bash it all day long, as much as I can bash Rolex all day long. It still is a great watch, right? So you can't really go wrong with it. It's just like value for money. I'm like, wow, and I was wrong about the price. I think it was 4,270 or 4,250 euros for that watch. That's a lot of money for what you get. Yeah, but it got an in-house movement. Well, I don't, like I said, it's an in-house movement under 10,000 euros. Who cares? Yeah, it's nice that you can say that, but that never was an issue up until like 10 years ago, that everybody suddenly wants to have in-house movements. If it takes 28,800, you can't see it on the outside. As long as it doesn't have a display case, it's all in the head. Oh, but it's got an in-house movement. Ah, great. Psychos and Citizens have great in-house movements as well. Oh, no, but then we're going to raise or lower the bar and say, yeah, but it's not Swiss. And yeah, sure. You can't change the rules during the game, right? Being a tool watch with just enough eye candy bling. Well, that's the whole thing. The Pelagos, I think, never was meant to be a bling watch. I think that's what they did with the Black Bay, putting it in stainless steel and so on. The Pelagos, I think, in general, was meant to be a true diver's watch. So they're bringing a more mass market Pelagos for the masses on, which I think is good, because probably more people will have more more wearing fun with a 39 millimeter than the 42 with everything on it. Maybe, could be. Gunny Iowa says, I've worn my Explorer 39 millimeter in Egypt without issues. I think the bad guys assumed it was a fake one. Well, I think the Explorer is not the one they're after in general. It's Submariner, Sea Dweller, Sky Dweller, The ones that are really, really known, and maybe the new, yeah, well, maybe the new Explorer as well. But in general, they these watches are sold before they rob them. And I'm not sure how it is in Egypt, but definitely in Western European cities where a lot of people know about Rolex, the market, and what watch is what. Uh, I mean, chances are nothing's going to happen. I mean, if you're going to put your Rolex Submariner on and you're going to walk in Amsterdam tomorrow all day, probably nothing's going to happen. But if 1 out of every 50 people will get into issues, it's still 1 out of 50. And that's still a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people wearing Rolex. So you can say, I'm going to take the chance. But, you know, if it would only be a knife sticking at you like giving you a watch, but if they first stab you and hit you and break your legs and knock your teeth out, and then they're going to grab your watch. And that's the thing that is the biggest problem, I think, at the moment. And, you know, there are groups of gangs of doing this, because I think in Amsterdam, in the last 2 years, they picked up like 25 people doing this, and it still happens, right? So it's just like new people take their place, robbing people of their Rolex. And you can wear a Cartier, an Omega, no problem. Breitling, no problem, because you can't sell these that quickly. The whole thing is about the demand. Because those watches are not for sale in the shops, you know, people will go to gray markets or even worse to get their fix of Rolex. And then it becomes, you know, then you'll have people getting the supply for you left, right, or center in a way that you might not know about. And you finally buy yourself a Rolex from a guy, and then find out when you service it that it's got a number that's being notified as stolen, and you get into deep shit because they won't send it back to you. Rolex will say, we're keeping the watch because it's stolen. I think, what was his name? Paul Thorpe had a video about that he sent in, or somebody he knew sent in a watch, and it was notified that it was a stolen watch, and therefore they wouldn't send it back. Inexpensive watches are becoming mainstream. Yeah, I think inexpensive watches have always been mainstream. When I show people the Pelagos, nobody would know that I paid 2,500 gray market for it. But that was when it just came out. It was end 2012, early 2013, something like that. So the whole luxury market is a niche market, and of course you're paying way too much for something that's been made for $200-300. You pay $4,000, but you know, that's one of the reasons I would not wear a Submariner or something similar myself, because I'm so happy that the Black Bay took off and not the Pelagos, because I just like to be a little bit special. Maybe I have a little bit of this ego thing that when I do wear a luxury watch, I don't want to have, like, if I go to a luxury party, that of the 100 people, 10 other ones would be wearing the same watch as I would. It's like, then I'd rather just go in with a G-Shock just to piss everybody off. Or a Vostok, that might get you some looks nowadays. Somebody said, like, oh, but Vostok is being sold from Lithuania. I said, no, well, that's probably Vostok Europe. You know, Vostok Europe is not the same as Miranom Vostok USSR. One great watch, unfortunately they're not making it anymore, is the Batman, the Vostok Batman. It's a GMT Vostok. There's a blue one without the Arabic numerals, with a black and a blue dial, black and a blue bezel. That is a fucking gorgeous GMT watch, and it was $150 when it came out. The Vostok GMT. Wow! You can buy one. You pay €600 secondhand on eBay. Well, I'm not that stupid. All right, go back up. People realize that collecting timepieces for mere statement use is a futile loser's game. That's why many people are buying Grand Seiko. Because you're buying Grand Seiko not for somebody else, but for yourself. You love the way it's finishing. You love the dial. You love the hands. You love everything about the watch. Maybe a display case as well. That's what people really love about the Grand Seiko. And you know, if you buy a Grand Seiko, the Rolex fanboys will say, it's a Seiko. And the people who don't know anything about watches, they would see like, oh, it's a Seiko. They wouldn't even know what Grand Seiko is. So buying a Grand Seiko is mainly for your own pleasure. And I think at the end of the day, you get more pleasure out of it if you like it yourself than needing the kudos from other people saying, "Oh, is that a real sea dweller? When did you get it? They're not for sale." Yeah, nice. Uh, and I mean, true, right? If you really love Rolex, it will be. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. You would really like that watch. But I see so many people saying, "I want to buy a Rolex. Which one is available? Which one can I buy?" And that's like the world upside down. First, like, what kind of watch do you want? Do you want one with water resistance? Would you want one with a bezel? Would you want an automatic one, or with a battery, or whatever do you want from a watch? The size. Instead of oh, I just want to buy a Rolex. Doesn't really matter what you want. Would you imagine that if you say that about a girl, about a woman? Oh, I'm heterosexual, so I want to have a woman. Which woman should I get? And you would ask other people what kind of woman you would like to have. Wouldn't that be weird? I mean, don't we men all know what kind of women we like? I mean, damn, I came to Ireland. Supposedly 10% of the Irish women has red hair. Yay! That's my sweet spot. So hopefully I find myself some redhead Irish woman. I would really enjoy that. But anyway, I'm going into my own sexual preferences now. I'm not sure if it's not very woke to do so, is it? Woke. I'm glad I didn't make many videos this year because half of them would be targeting wokeness. All these woke people, they come from some kind of superiority complex that's just really ridiculous. It's like telling all the people, don't make fun of the guy in the wheelchair, and just ignoring the opinion of the guy in the wheelchair. It's just horrible. And getting angry and canceling and all that stuff. Continue. Tool being just not coming. I've won my Explorer in Egypt. Yeah, we have that. People realize collecting timepieces and statement use shoot a game. Guido, off topic. You should check out the Omega DeVille GMT with a steel bracelet. It's out of this world, made by aliens in full moonlight. I'm on the hunt for a decent one. After this video, have a look because I have my Omega lined up. I've been talking about it a lot. The Omega I'm looking for is the Globemaster. And it's the Globemaster with the blue dial, the blue pancake dial, pie pen dial, with the bracelet. It has a bezel made out of a very strong steelish material. In Dutch, it's wolfram. I don't know the English term for it, but it's a completely different material than the rest of the watch. The fluted bezel's actually an invention of Omega, and not like people say, oh, Omega is copying Rolex with the fluted bezel. No. Omega was first with the fluted bezel. Anyway, so the Globemaster, I think, is such a beautiful, also an understated watch. I think it's 39 millimeters. Way, there we are. But they're never available. I'm not in the shops. I went to Keen's in, when was it, Cork? In Cork here in Ireland, they have a very big luxury watch store. And they had Breitlings and Tag Heuers and Rolexes and Pateks. And, they had like 50 Omegas, of which 20 Seamasters, 10 Speedmasters, and all kinds of stuff. But not the Globemaster. I walked in and said, do you have a Globemaster? And they were like, huh? So I said, oh, now Globemaster, and they had to check in their index and said, oh, yeah, there's a Globemaster. Oh, yeah, we don't have it. We can order it in for you. And I'm like, no, don't order it in for me yet. I just want to see it first. And unfortunately, because I found out on Chrono 24, there was one being sold for 5,900 euros here, I think. And I called them up, and they were an online shop. I was like, because the whole online world, if you're going to buy a watch 6,000 euros, I'm gonna get it in person. I don't want to have it sent to me or whatever. My coffee's getting cold. Uranus lol. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you tell people, they go like, "Oh right, mission to Uranus." Nice color, gay. Oh, you can't say that anymore. It's not woke. Gunny Hive says, any other watch releases worth mentioning? I'm not sure. I haven't been onto many watch sites lately because, of course, I spent 6 months on the road, 1 month back home, and now again a month on the road. So The only time I made watch videos was whenever I got to a watch shop, or when something really big happens, like the Omega Moons watch. I knew when that came out, I got to make a video about it because this is going to be huge. Knew the Tudor 39. Well, every Pelagos version that will come out, I'm probably going to be reviewing because, it's called the Pelagos channel. So, and it's been the Pelagos channel for 10 years. So any Pelagos that comes out, I have to review. It would be weird if I wouldn't. The only thing is, do I do it immediately, or if I got the time for it? And fortunately, I got a very big mansion for myself this weekend, and therefore I can do it. So I'm at a friend's house. This is not my house, unfortunately, because wow, this is a house with somebody who would wear a Vacheron or a Patek. So I'm happy to be here for a few days, but I actually want to buy something small. I don't need a mansion. I never had a big house. I mean, I started my channel. My first videos I made, they're still online, I think. And they're made from Haarlem, which is a city in Holland. And it was a very, very small apartment. Yeah, really, really small. And I never lived that big. I mean, I lived a year in a camper van that, the passenger chair turns around. I had the bed in front of me, and that's about it. I had one spot that I could sit. And I never, ever had one moment of, oh, this is so small. I feel claustrophobic in this van. I've been living in it, right? I listen to podcasts, read a book, whatever I did, or watch YouTube channel if I had enough Wi-Fi. And I never felt it was very small. So I really am accustomed to living very small. So that would be, just a plus for me when I go hunting for a house here. I have to say, though, I had brilliant weather the last 7 months. So not sure how that works with a month of rain. Then it might get a little bit, annoying, being like very small day after day. Longines Ultrachron just released in late August. I have to find that out. Somebody else agrees with that. The Ultrachron, which is probably a chrono, I would say. It's a nice looking piece. Is it like a vintage inspired model, like the what was the name of the Tricompax or something like that, Longines? I mean, those are nice, those Tricompax watches, but they're very expensive. It's a nice looking piece with superb specs. All right, I gotta find out which one that is. The Tissot PRX, very popular novelty release too, another mainstream inexpensive. Yeah, the Tissot, it comes in, I think, three colors at least. There's a blue one, a gray one, and a black one, I think. Those look nice. It's a bit like a throwback to the 80s. So let me just turn out the lights a little bit lower because it's getting darker. And then I can just make sure that I'm not only in the... Come on, listen to me. There you go. Am I still on? Yeah, still good. Now you see the waves in the... There we go. Whatever. The PRX looks nice as well. It's a very popular watch, and it's not very expensive. I think it was like 500 or 600 euros that is on the shop window. So that could be worse. Well, Longines is killing it. Yeah, Longines is going. I see many of those brands going up in what they're doing. So Longines is bringing up more expensive luxury versions again. There's loads of watch brands actually doing this nowadays. They used to be like a luxury brand, which in the 80s and 90s went back to a mass-produced watch brand like Longines became. And they're going back to the luxury stuff, or doing both. I think even Tag Heuer is climbing up again. I mean, they're bringing out some really nice watches. You can bash Tag Heuer all day long, but some of the stuff they're bringing out now is like, ooh, that looks nice. I mean, there is the the green Aqua Racer. I think that's just a gorgeous watch, but 4,000 euros, just a lot of money. Tissot doesn't do it for me, Gunny says. How about the Hanhart Chrono? Hanhart makes great watches. It's a lesser known brand, but they have been around for a long time. And I as far as I know, they haven't changed that much. They have their chrono, which is a famous chronograph that is very well known in the watch world and very respected. And as a brand, they have, I like their bezels, the round bezels, with it's not fluted, but it's like a bezel uh, on the upside, not on the side, but on top. It's yeah, it's a nice watch, the Han Hart. I thought about maybe getting a Han Hart at one point, but yeah, again, it's kind of a lot of money for a watch that I might not wear that much. I would still like to have a chronograph and a GMT. Then again, if I have to buy a luxury watch now, it's going to be a Globemaster, which is neither of the two. So whenever I will get a chrono again or a GMT, I'm not really sure. Of course, I had the Zenith at one point, the Chronomaster 410Z. That was a great chronograph. But yeah, I sold it. So you see, at the end of the day, you just buy what you want at that moment. The Hanhart 417ES, that is. Okay, I'll check that all later. And Tom says no, but the PXR line is actually very popular. They also offer a Powermatic 80 with the new Niva Chrome spring. I must say, I'm not very well known into the whole gears and watch parts stuff. Now, I used to work in the industry that I had to order watch parts in for repairs. That was my job last year. The biggest disaster in my working history. Not because the job wasn't nice, because I finally, after 12 to 15 years in security, I was able to get out of that and work in the watch industry. And that was, for me, that was a dream come true. I waited 6 months because of COVID to start that job. And within 10 days, it was the biggest disillusion of my life. Simply because I can't say too much about it, but let's just say there were two people working there that absolutely wanted me gone within the first day I got there. Probably because I just worked too hard, and they knew that I probably could do their job quicker than the two of them could. So unfortunately, that was a big disaster, and I went to another department within the watch company, and everything went fine. So anybody with a half a brain could see that at that time it wasn't my fault. And then I worked there for 3 weeks, and it was a disaster. And but I had a contract for 7 months that I couldn't just say bye bye to, because I signed it. And then the cat died, and it was the worst time that I experienced. And that was the time that I decided, all right, now fuck it all. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to buy a bus, and I'm going to make sure that I'll have some good times for the next couple of months, because I lived to work for the last 10 to 15 years. I didn't work to live. I lived to work. Make ends meet barely and be very unhappy. And you can see that in some of my videos then. And the thing is, I just noticed how much stress does. I mean, not many people really stand still with it, but stress is such a bad thing for your health, for your mental health, but it will be just as bad as your physical health. And people say, "Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed." So they're angry in their head and this and that. But you develop so many physical ailments. I remember going to the hospital for my foot a few times, and it kept on coming back, and it was horrible. And they said, "Well, you got to go. We got to do surgery on you because we can't get it to work like this. 90% of people who come here with this thing, it helps, but it doesn't work for you." And so they arranged a waiting list, because it was COVID, for me to get a surgery. And in the meantime, I just called the surgeon at one day. I said, "Well, I bought the van. I'm going to travel. What if I just, walk with the pain? Is it going to be dangerous for my health?" He says, "No, it's not. You're not going to live any years shorter if you're going to live with the pain. You can still walk. It's just going to be damn painful and very very annoying." And I said, "Well, okay, I'll do that then, because I'm not going to wait for surgery. I want to travel." So I traveled, and within a month, it was gone. It never returned. And I remember I was driving in the Ardèche in France, like 4 months in, and I got a phone call from the hospital, like, good news, Guido, you can come by for next week, and we'll have an intake for your surgery. I was like, surgery? It's all gone, Paula. It's all gone. I don't need surgery anymore. It's like, what do you mean? You've been here 6 times now it's gone. I said, yeah, it was all fucking stress. I mean, I can't stress it enough. Get rid of the stress, and you'll see that so many other stuff that you are worried about or feeling in your body just goes away. Maybe that's why people want to do mindfulness or meditation or that kind of stuff, or look for spirituality. But if you're really stressed, you really got to think about maybe doing something else. Seriously, I mean, if you're really, really stressed, it's a sign of your body and your mind telling you what you're doing now is bad. Now, you can have a bit of stress because you're going through a period of bad stuff, fine. But if you have daily stress of your job or your relationship or your finances, that is a sign you have to address it and you have to make it work, because otherwise it'll only get worse and it will cost you years of your life. You'll die much younger than necessary. Anyway, Gary Highway says, I've been to the Grand Cycle Boutique in Amsterdam. Oh, that's I love that one. Unfortunately, the staff of 2 teenage girls with no knowledge or interest in selling ruined the experience for me. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, I mean, I almost worked in the watch industry. I worked in the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, and it wouldn't have. I almost not worked at the Rijksmuseum because at the same time I had a job interview in Amsterdam Watch Shop. I think it was Amsterdam Watch Company or something. It's similar to vintage Amsterdam watches and all those. And I almost got the job, but I got a message saying, "Oh, sorry, job went to someone else, and hopefully next time we can be of service." And I was like, "Oh, too bad." Well, I'll start at the Rijksmuseum. Wasn't a bad second option. And then I went back to the shop, and this 18-year-old big boobed girl came up. And I was like, okay, so she got my job because she just looks nice. And I think it depends. For a very big part of the people buying luxury watches, they want to have a pretty girl selling them the watch. The people who actually know something about watches, they want to have somebody who can actually tell something about the watch, because they already know much about the watch, and they want to spar with the seller about some stuff, about the movement or about the colors or about the materials used. And if you can't, that's what I had in Cork. It was a lovely looking girl, but when I say Globemaster, she looked like she saw ice on fire. She was like, huh? And yeah, it's a bit of a pity. You want to have knowledge in your shop, but yeah, not everybody does this. It's the same in hotels. You can't really, in daytime, you can't really work in hotels anymore because they want to all have 18, 19-year-old girls. As a man, you can work in a hotel at night for the night shifts, or as security to save the girls if they do something wrong and the guest goes wild. So I know everything about that. So yeah, because the Cycle Boutique in Amsterdam, that's where I saw the SBGX 115 after I saw it on a Blog to Watch video. Great video, by the way. And I saw that one and I was immediately in love with it. So I went to Amsterdam and it was for sale for 4,100 euros. And I told the guy, that watch, I'm going to have that watch one day. And he said, well, you got to be quick because it's they don't make it anymore. It's out of production. And I almost forgot about it. And 2 years later, there's a video going psycho over Grand Psycho on my channel. And 2 years later, I found it. I had to sell the Zenith, but I could get the SBGX 115. And not only Rolex makes money. Of course, I have. If I want to sell it, I have to find a seller for it. But I paid 2,500 euros. And I think they're asking like 7,000 euros for a quartz Grand Psycho on Chrono 24 right now. And it's the only one for sale on Chrono. So yeah, if scarcity will up the price as well. Wolfram is tungsten. Sin uses this material on a regular basis. Is it tungsten? All right, I guess so. Yeah, I think you. Where am I? I think you did a Google search or something, so you probably know it. It's tungsten. I thought there was another name for it, but yeah, it probably is, and it's a very nice material and not much used in watches. And you see it; it's been used at the Grand Cycle, the Globe Master, and it's nice because it will not dent the bezel. Now I've thought also about the gold Globe Master, the rose gold Globe Master. I think that's a beautiful watch as well. It's um, it's the steel with the pink gold, the combination of the two with the blue dial. It's just magical. But that's also like 8 or 9 thousand euros, the cheapest ones you can find, secondhand maybe. But then again, you're walking around with a gold watch, and I'm not really a gold wearer. Although I bought this claddagh ring. Let me get. Oh, sorry, this claddagh ring in Galway, because for me it's like a decision. I'm going to live in Ireland. I'm going to work here, buy a claddagh ring, so that after maybe 20 years I'm here in Ireland, I'll still know like, oh, I bought this ring when I arrived, and I can let the women know that I'm single the way I'm wearing it. So maybe that will help. Norsa says, never confuse interesting watches with sale of watches. The sale assistant doesn't care about your enthusiasm. They just want you to buy indiscriminately. Well, that's the whole thing. If you have somebody who likes watches and the seller is into watches themselves or knows something about it, it's always a lot of fun to talk with them. It's always, I remember going into a Cartier shop. I think, where was it? Ooh, I wouldn't know. I think it might be in Graz in yeah, I think it was in Austria. And this man knew a lot about Cartier, and I really liked the Cartier Drive, the new weird shaped one with the moon face. I think it's a gorgeous watch. And he didn't know it. He knew the other ones, and we were talking about Cartier, and he knew so much about Cartier. He learned me a thing or two. And and he knew I wasn't going to buy anything, but we were standing there talking about for half an hour. And then you see those little nice looking girls who work in the shop. They notice that their manager or something is having a good conversation with the customer, and you see them like, oh, all right, paying attention and so on, and which is funny because they should have this knowledge when they start working there, or at least do as much as they can to get this knowledge. But yeah, most of the times these girls are just there to sell you stuff, and you got to find the right person to. I normally just walk up to the guy in a suit and ask him a question. I wouldn't walk up to one of the girls. If I want to talk to girls, I can do that anywhere. I wouldn't have to go to a watch shop to do that. And he says they just want you to buy in the screen. This is what Rolex fanboys always get you wrong. Well, a lot of Rolex fanboys will bring the watch back, say it stopped working, and they have to be explained what an automatic watch is. Rolex doesn't like watch enthusiasts. No, they never have. I mean, they, you have to tell them, don't put new hands or a dial on my watch, and don't polish it if you bring a watch to them, because they will just service the watch and bring it to you back in the best condition they can, ruining the value of what's in the head of the collectors. And I can understand a little bit because, Rolex wants you to have a Rolex reputable watch. I mean, so Rolex wants that the watch you wear is in top condition, which is just something to say for that. But because the whole collector's world is so mad, I was talking to somebody else. He says, "Oh, I've got a Rolex at home, but it's broken." And I said, and it was, I don't know, it might maybe an El Primero, what it was, so a Daytona. And they're like, yeah, I should service it, but it's a lot of money, and it's in a. But I said, well, it could be a lot of money worth. I mean, Daytona's probably from the 70s, 80s. They're probably worth a lot of money now. They said, no, it won't be a lot of money because it's broken. I said, it doesn't matter. I said, it doesn't matter if it's broken, as long as they didn't make it into a Franken watch. So people don't mind if your Daytona is broken as long as it's all original. If the parts in it are original, they will or service it or will not service it. It's only about having that Daytona from that year. So don't worry about it being broken. As long as you can't see it from the outside, they will be able to repair it if necessary. And don't worry about your watch not running. If you've got a vintage Rolex, you're going to make money anyway. Um, I understand they want the pieces like they were Psycho 5s. Furthermore, if I'm about to spend 10K on a piece, I want to be pampered like I'm the king from the movie Coming to America. Well, yeah. I mean, and not only a nice boutique with a nice cup of coffee, but I mean, they don't have to go under the counter for me, right? But to have a little bit of a meant respect, so not some kind of a charade respect, but a meant respect from the people working there, that they appreciate you buying a luxury watch. I think that makes the whole experience. And I think for that matter, it's nice to go into a watch shop just asking to put something on. But I do think if I would make the decision to buy the Globemaster, for example, and I know when I'm going to do it, I will just iron my shirt, put a nice trousers on, some nice shoes, do my hair, and just go in. And that makes the experience also nice. I can't, I shouldn't be bringing it up every time because he's a great guy. But what's this one guy, Bruce, and he went to buy a Vacheron, I think, in, was it Las Vegas or something, and he paid something like $12,000 for it. And he came on in a Bermuda shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and his sunglasses hanging over his breast hair. And I was like, wow, man, on your slippers. I'm not sure if he will wear slippers, but it just looks. Then, in my opinion, right? It's just my opinion. It comes across like you're the multimillionaire who doesn't give a shit about anyone and just walk in your slippers in a Vacheron and buy your Vacheron. I think if you're going to do that, I mean, those people are wearing suits as well. You can just play along a little bit for the experience and dress yourself up a little bit as well. Um, on the other hand, if you're on holiday and you accidentally walk in and that's the watch you want, well, that's the one you're going to buy, whatever you're going to wear. But I normally walk into a watch shop wearing whatever. If I want some information, I want to know something about it. But when I know I'm going to buy it or order it and I'm going to pick it up, that's the moment when I'm going to put some nice clothes on and live the experience. You make it for yourself also a little bit nicer, right? Ultrachron is a diver's watch, has sapphire bezel and a super accurate movement. Sounds good. I'll have to check all these out. Maybe there's going to be a follow-up video of the Tudor that I made today, because I didn't know it was going to get so many views in such a small time. Or this live show, whoever knows. Steinhardt suddenly couldn't provide the customers with the customary black Steinhardt watch boxes, and people went berserk, complaining about the new substandard cardboard boxes. Yeah, it's nice if you get a good case with your watch, but at the end of the day, it's the watch that counts. And maybe some people. I mean, if I could get a €500 discount for getting this Tudor in a carton box, I might have wanted to have it in a carton box if that would be the official Tudor box it came in. Now, I do know, I do think if you only have one luxury watch, for example, it's nice on your bedstand to put that watch in the original box. So every morning you get to open this wooden box and pick your watch out. But as long as you're going to put like 5-6 different watches in a watch box, you end up with all kinds of watch boxes somewhere in your attic that you never see again unless you're going to resell it. So, yeah, for both, there's something to say for both. Thoughts on Anordan watches, smaller one with an enamel dial. It has 2 years waiting list, but well worth it. It's probably a micro brand. I haven't heard of Anordan. Is it a Swiss or a French brand? Model 1. So it's. I think it's a kind of a new brand. It could be very expensive, maybe. I got to find out what that is. Scottish micro brand company Unordained. All right, so it's Scottish micro brand. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Don't know much about Unordained, but they look like people who are deep into watchmaking. Well, that's the most important thing. I mean, there's Dutch watchmakers. I mean, the Dutch have been very famous for their clocks. In the 16th, 17th century, 18th century, they made brilliant clocks, pocket watches as well. But the Swiss hijacked the whole industry, and the French and the Germans and the Dutch, they didn't do much, and they ended up with nothing, because everybody wants Swiss nowadays. But there's still some Dutch watchmakers. You have Van der Gang and Van der Klauw. Those make handmade, brilliant microbrand watches. Every part is brilliantly made, and you pay 15 to 20,000 euros for a watch like that, and you really walk around with a beautiful watch, which is the same standard as a lot of the top Swiss and German brands. I wouldn't say it's the same as a Patek, but it comes really close. Some of those Dutch brands make watches that are really, really good. I've actually been looking around for Holzhinch, I think it was called. Couldn't find them anymore, so I got to find out what happened to those. They had also enamel dials, and they had laser printed cases, but really, really gorgeously made. So I'll have to find out. I didn't know. I didn't remember how you wrote it, so I couldn't find it back on Google. The difference between the Rolex company and Rolex fanboys is that you will never hear Rolex knock the Cellini line. Rolex doesn't care about your enthusiasm; they just want you to worship them. Well, yeah. The thing is, if you, it comes from a certain place of arrogance. It's something that I don't like about Patek as well. Is that they decide if you're allowed to buy one. It's like, why? I'm a customer. Who cares? I put in the money. I'm going to take it with me. It only comes from a certain arrogance that you can actually say, we decide who's going to buy this watch, which is a very strange thing for me. That is why I would always buy a Vacheron over a Patek, by the way. Simply because it's only known within the watch world. I mean, if you buy a Patek nowadays, probably there will still be a lot of people who know what a Patek is because of the whole, I don't know, gang or Rolex robberies and so on. So Patek comes in there a little bit once in a while. Audemars comes in a bit. But at the end of the day, Vacheron is not that well known. And therefore, I would like to have a Vacheron. I don't know. Like I said, if everybody goes left, I go right. I just don't want to be, if I'm going to buy something luxury, I don't want it to be middle of the road, or even if it's expensive, if I go to a luxury party and from the 100 people, 10 other people are wearing the same watch as I am, I might as well just not put a watch on. Or otherwise, I'll be spending the rest of the night walking up to all the other guys going like, oh, you got such a nice watch, man. I got the same watch. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, let's give each other a mutual reach around. I call it the Roland's reference reach around. Trying to get my wife into watches so I can spend more on watches with her approval. No luck so far. She's a happy camper with her Orient Star something. Orient Star is not a bad watch. Yeah, that's the thing with a wife. I don't have a wife. I don't have a girlfriend. So I can buy any watch I want as long as I got the money. And when I have them, that's it. The only problem is when you get into financial problems, the first thing she will say, oh, sell a few of your watches. Well, and women do that actually good because they buy bags and shoes and they wear them. And maybe the bags you can sell secondhand, but shoes secondhand. A lot of that stuff, when it's theirs, it loses their value. So they can't really resell it. And a lot of men buy something they can resell. Yeah, but, you got to explain to women, what I would like to do is when I ever get married, I'll give my wife whatever she wants. If she wants a ring or whatever, and I hope she will give me a watch instead of a ring. First of all, I'm not going to give my wife a diamond ring for an engagement anyway, because that's a 1930s De Beers marketing scheme that has survived for almost a century. It has nothing to do with traditional marriage. It is an advertising thing so successful that especially in the US, people still think you have to buy your wife a diamond ring. And of course, women are not going to tell you that's a marketing scheme from the 30s. But if you do a little bit of reading up on it, it's ridiculous. The whole diamond ring thing. It's just, wow. And especially the marketing behind it, because first they made it into half a carat, and then they made the same commercials in the 40s or 50s, but now it has to be a carat. And it's really bad. The whole diamond ring thing is really bad. I think there's a video on my channel somewhere a very long time ago I did about the Beers diamond ring scheme. You can always buy her 10K pair of shoes. Hello from Michigan. Hello, Junior Johnson. How have you been? Hello, Junior Johnson is what Tom says as well. Hi, buddy. Jidu is an anti-bandwagon guy. Yeah. It's I just don't get it. I never have. I was the one walking in high school around with heels on my shoes, not high heels, but those cowboy boot heels. And, they would call me cowboy. Well, then you call me cowboy. I don't care. These are the shoes I like. These are the ones I'm wearing. I don't want to have the newest Nike Air Max. I actually bought Nike Air Max for the first time in my life about 2 weeks ago because I wanted to have some sneakers to walk on when I'm in town. I have a few mountain shoes, and I got very dressy shoes, but I didn't have like a normal everyday just walk into town shoes. So I did buy myself a few Nikes, but that's about it. All right, now guys, I'm talking for about 1 hour and 20 minutes already. My God. What shall I do? I got 7 people watching. Give me a minute. I'm gonna get a beer, and we'll see how long we make it. An hour and a half or longer. Depends a little bit on how many people I get talking to me. Oh, there we go. Now, if you've seen more of my live shows, you've probably seen that I normally would have a Amstel beer, but they don't sell Amstel beer. They sell Heineken, and I'm not really a Heineken guy. I'll drink it, but it's not my beer. And then somebody here gave me a Coors Irish beer. It's a great beer. It's a lighter one. It's 4.3, but as a beer, it really I don't like beer that bitter, like Grolsch beer. It's too much for me, but this beer is kind of good. So cheers. Tom, anti-lemming jumping off cliff type of guy. Well, it's true though, and that's what you see everywhere, especially with the modern way of influences, which is one thing I really don't understand. I mean, you can, you know, inspire versus aspire. When you get inspired by someone, it's great, but influencers are often to be aspired, which is, I just want to be like the nice people on the television or on YouTube. It's like, no, man, you're your own man. You're your own woman. Do your own thing. Inspired, get inspired. You like the way somebody does it. That's the way you want to do something as well. But you don't want to have the same haircut. You don't want to have the same watch. I think it's just silly. It's very superficial. And I tried to explain this to somebody who's really into how they look. For example, on Facebook, they post millions of pictures of themselves on Facebook. Look at me, how good I am. I've been to the gym. Look at me, look at me. And then I said something and I didn't get it. And I said, look, perception versus essence. How something looks can be very deceptive. The essence of something is so much more important. Essence and intention. Those are the magical things in people. What's your intention? What's the essence of what's happening? Not how does it look, because looks can be very deceiving. And it's you especially with like what you see now with influencers and so on. It's all perception. It's all make believe. You know, the emperor's got no clothes. Can one purchase Carlsberg in Ireland? I think you can. Yeah, I think Carlsberg you can buy anywhere. Desperados over there. Well, I think those brands like Corona as well, you can buy it anywhere. It's I do think though, if you, for example, I knew that of course in Ireland you can buy Kilkenny or Guinness. The thing is, if you go to Holland and you buy a bottle of Guinness in Holland, it's not the same Guinness as they pour here in Ireland. So it's like a European market version of Guinness. And I haven't drank too much Heineken lately to know if the Heineken is the same here or not. So we'll see what happens. Have you met any nice Irish redheads yet? Yes, I have. But since I've been on the road, I only see them once, and the next day I'm off again. So unless I find them here in the pub locally, yeah, there's not much I can do to get them to know them better. So maybe in the future. Yeah, who knows? Honestly, also with the travel, I've talked to a lot of women, but I have not really been trying to make a move or get a wife or a partner or whatever. You know, sometimes you get lucky, you have some fun, but I haven't taken it that seriously for the last year. And oh boy, has my life been improving. I used to be so focused on women that I really wanted to have a girlfriend, and oh my God, what am I gonna do to find myself a girlfriend? And oh shit. And then I was just like, at one point I was like, you know what? I've been doing all this shit alone in my whole life. I wouldn't even know if I got a partner for a longer time tomorrow if she would really like to be with me for a long time, because I don't really change that much. So this is what you get, and I've been doing so many things so much for such a long time alone that I probably will not be willing to give a lot of that stuff up. I mean, if I'd have a woman and she starts complaining about my watch collection, it's just not an option to talk about it. It's my collection. It's what I do. It's what I like. So take it or leave it. I'm not going to discuss that the next watch I'm going to buy is going to be not more than 5,000 euros because I have to justify to my partner why I'm buying a watch. No, I like that watch. I'm going to buy it. Now, unless you have a shared account with the bank and finances are low, yes. Then I would the same thing. I would ask my wife, why are you buying your fifth Hermes a bag? You're right. That would be the same thing. So I think that's important. You got to live your own life. You got to do what you want to do yourself, and you can't always please other people. It's the worst thing you can do. People pleaser, the disease to please. Just be yourself. Enjoy what you're doing, and don't give a damn about what other people think about you. As long as you're not hurting people physically or doing something illegal, you should be okay. And otherwise, you shouldn't really be care what other people think of you. Now, if you hurt people mentally, it depends. If you go on a torment to get somebody stressed out, that's not good. But if somebody says, "Oh, you can't say tranny anymore because you have to say person of a different gender or whatever," I'm like, yeah, bye. I've been saying tranny all my life. I've been saying some stuff all my life. I can't just change because some 15-year-old thinks that I'm not allowed to anymore. It's just, I just don't give a shit. Maybe if my channel will have 1 million subscribers, I'll have to, because it will be my primary source of income. And then I'll slow a little bit down. The same thing with the video about the 39mm pellicles. If I would have known, I'm not sure how it is now, but if that video gets 50,000 views, I might have been a little bit more reserved. But probably the vast majority of the people who watch my channel now watch me for what I do. It's just rant, take things on the chin, and give punches as well. And it's always you always see it's bad when people start making money out of it. When people start making money out of YouTube, then suddenly their channel changes, their title changes. It's more clickbait. One cannot be that critical anymore because, oh, God, behold, Google will take my revenue away. And I could say fuck and not care because I'm not getting paid a dime for all my videos. It's just fun. And I thought I was going to do a 20-minute video, and I've been doing it for an hour and a half. And I could have done a 20-minute video because, I don't have every week on Thursday, you can find a new video. I could say that, but then I would probably at one point find it like I have to make another video again. And then it takes a lot of fun out of doing the YouTube live streams. Greg Saga says, "Hi Guido, great live stream. Have you heard anything from Austin Daniels? Why did he disappear? Really miss his videos." I heard somebody say that. Maybe it was you. I don't know. I send him a message once in a while. I get a message back. As far as I know, he's doing well. He's doing fine. I can try to find out what's going on. I'm not sure if his channel's gone or something. I do know about another friend of mine who used to be a YouTuber who got into some trouble. He had to delete every social thing because of a blackmail thing. So I have to call him as well. But I don't know about Austin Daniels. He used to make great videos. If you're a Rolex fanboy, I mean, you got to watch his videos. I don't know anybody who can talk as good about Rolex as he can. So I'm not sure what happened. I'll see if he's still up. I don't know about it. But I've been so busy. I haven't watched much YouTube. I haven't been on YouTube that much. The only thing I've been doing on YouTube is watch videos of Blood on the Clock Tower, which is a werewolf kind of a game. If you go to No Rolls Barred channel, they do Blood on the Clock Tower videos. Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably think like, But if you know the game, I got the game in. I'm going to play it. It's a board game, but it's not but it's a social deduction game, but really, really deep, 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 deep. And I love just watching those videos as well. So I did watch those, but I haven't watched many of my fellow YouTuber videos. So yeah, I'll try to find out what's going on, and I probably won't tell you here, but maybe during the next live show, I'll just put some little hint in if I know something. But I bet he's doing well, and if he doesn't, I wish him all the best, and I'll probably find out within the next 24 hours. What type of watch stores do you have seen in Ireland? What is there to buy? It doesn't really matter where you are. I remember they had in Ljubljana in Slovenia, in the capital of Slovenia, they had a Grand Psycho boutique bigger than I've ever seen. They had almost all Grand Psychos. I've seen Patek stores in Seville. I think Dresden in East Germany, which is a beautiful city. Dresden is such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful city. If you ever get to Europe and you can visit Dresden, go to Dresden. There's a lot of nice nature in the area, and the city just is. I would live in Dresden any day of the week. And they have a lot of watch stores and a lot of German watch stores. They have if you think that Rolex has some nice buildings somewhere in Madrid and so on, see the A. Lange building in Dresden. Wow, that's just a huge building, and they have like a watch shop window with 2 watches in it, and the window would be like 4 by 3 meters. It's insane. But normally, in the big cities, you will get good watch shops. Like here in Cork, I think in Dublin, here in Ireland, you'll have some great big luxury watch shops. And maybe I'll do a separate video about it. But what I found is that you have like two kinds of jewelers. Apart from the antique shops, you have 2 kinds of jewelers. The real luxury jewelers, so the ones that will sell Breitling, Tag Heuer, and Patek, Rolex, Omega. And then you have the jewelers. And those are those shops that you think that you're actually going to a jeweler, but you're actually going into a BS shop. You can buy a silver ring for 50 euros or a golden ring for 80 euros. They will sell, normally they will sell Tissot, if that's like their upper brand. But then you get all the bullshit brands like Cluse and Hugo Boss and Armani and all those horrible fashion brands. And you walk in and you see that and you go like, oh my God. They call themselves a jeweler store, and the most expensive watches they're selling are Citizen watches. Now I don't have any issue with Citizen except that their customer service is just the worst in the watch world, but they make great watches. So hopefully you don't have to experience their customer service, which is really, really bad. But if you have a jeweler store and your most expensive watch is a Citizen Red Arrows chronograph of 600 euros, then you're not a jeweler. You're just somebody who sells gold and silver necklaces and watches from a watch brand. So at least you're not selling a Hilfiger watch. Now you're selling actual watch brand. And if people, and I said it before, but if you want to know the difference between fashion and non-fashion watches, it's very simple. Would you could say, well, I got an Armani watch. It's like, yeah, nice. Try to find a part for it in 2 years because it's a fashion watch. So every 2 years they'll have completely different watches, and you can't. If you break something, you're fucked. I said, yeah, but I paid 450, 500 euros for that Armani watch. I said, yeah, but it's a fashion brand. You pay for the brand name. I mean, do you have a Psycho suit in your closet? It's just like, oh, I'm going to go to a wedding today. Which one shall I wear today? Which suit? Shall I get my Armani suit, my Hugo Boss suit, or shall I wear my Psycho tuxedo? No, because Psycho is a watch brand. So if you buy Armani, it's a clothing brand. So an Armani watch doesn't make any sense. But people think like, oh, it says Ferrari on the dial. Now I got an expensive watch. No, Maserati, Ferrari. It often, even a lot of the big brands who do cooperations, the watches that tank are the ones that cooperate with big luxury car names. It's ridiculous. Tom says, what type of watch stores have you seen? Right? And Gunny says, Austin and his watch safaris will be missed. I don't know, man. I got to find out what's happened. I don't know. Good. Thank you for telling me. I'll have to find out what's going on. Does anybody in the chat know why Austin left it? Is he coming back? I've tried to email him, but he doesn't answer. Is your email address in the chat? My email address. You can send an email address, guidopalagos@gmail.com. And Guido spelled the old way I used to do the channel, which is Guideaux. Guideaux, pelagos@gmail.com. Now, I don't open that email address very often, but you can always send me a message there. Yeah, I'll try to find out what's up with Daniel. Is his whole channel gone? Which would be strange. I don't know. I really don't know. I think he had a few critical videos about some Rolex seller or something. I can't believe that he would. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I got to find out. I think I talked to him like last week or something, and he didn't say anything. So I'm not sure if it's off for a long time. But unfortunately, fortunately for me, but unfortunately, I didn't know that supposedly there's something wrong, because I decided years ago if a watch video has Rolex in the title, I probably wouldn't watch it, simply because it's just the same old for me personally. So I just don't want to waste my time watching videos with people talking about Rolex reference, doing the Rolex reference reach around. I got better things to do. So as good as those videos are, if it's got Rolex in the title, I'll often just not watch them because I don't care about Rolex. I mean, I'm not. A lot of people say I hate Rolex. I don't hate Rolex, not at all. They're a great fucking brand. It's the most reputable brand in the world at the moment, even more than Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and the whole stuff together. So I can hate all I want, but it doesn't make it any different that it's the most reputable brand. I just don't care about the brand. That's the whole thing. If I buy a car, I'd never buy a Ferrari, right? I'd probably buy something lesser known, more refined, more also Italian, but just a little bit different, just do something else and maybe get a good Lancia or something. I don't know. I'm not really into cars. I don't know that much about cars. Why Ireland of all places? I would be so bored over there that I would commit crime just for entertainment. Well, yeah, I mean, Ireland, remember, I lived 43 years in Holland, 17 million people in a country the size of half of Ireland. In Ireland, there's 5 million people, of which 3 million live in the big cities. So you end up with 2 million over the rest of the whole country. The thing is, you can still buy a house here. If you can work from home, you'll have your peace and quiet. I mean, Holland for me is 6 o'clock in the morning, standing on the metro station in Amsterdam, waiting for the metro to go to your work, winter, rain or shine. I've had that. I want to have some peace and quiet, especially with the whole internet going this big. Why would you do something else? I'll find friends here. I got friends coming over. I'll have a great time with them. I can show them where I live. And the funny thing is, people don't know shit about Ireland. It is probably one of the most beautiful countries in Europe. Everybody says, "Oh, it rains all day." Well, today it rained, but I had three weeks of beautiful weather, and I don't know why. Again, the majority of the people like sunny weather. I'm still trying to find the right word for it. It's not nostalgic. It's not melancholic, but I like those drizzle gray days in fall and winter when it gets dark and you drive along a misty road. And here Ireland really comes to work, because Ireland is full of old ruins. I think there was 15 million people living in Ireland about a few hundred years ago. It's madness. It's a country that lost a lot of people and then came up again. And you see so many 13th, 14th century abbeys without the roof falling in, but you have all these beautiful old buildings that you can visit. And there's just a lot of ancient history here. I mean, the Vikings came here, and the Normans came here, and the British came here, and finally they're independent. And hopefully within the next couple of years or in the next 15 years, they'll get Northern Ireland back to Ireland, and there'll be one country again, and who knows? But I haven't found it dull. I have found the Irish hospitality be amazing, beyond what I ever would have thought I would experience. People I hardly knew and I found on a campsite. They were like, "Oh man, I live in there and there, and if you're in the neighborhood, give me a call." And I gave them a call, and they were like, "Oh great man, come by and you can sleep here. Do you want to sleep in your van?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll sleep in my van. Don't worry." "Yeah, well, do you want to eat something? And here's a plate of spaghetti. Come in and share a meal with us and have a beer and another beer." And amazing hospitality here. And the people are still with a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff is like 15 years behind, but I actually like a little bit of tradition, old school stuff of living. I don't want to go back to the 50s, but the whole woke and modern way of living, I like to be a little bit traditional with my life, and I find that here a lot easier than in Amsterdam, for example. Thought on Glashütte original watches. Great, beautiful watches. I mean, as you can see on one of my last videos was a two-part video about Glashütte where I went in Germany. Thing is that Glashütte is a very small town, and it's full with factories of Moritz and Grossmann, Union, Glashütte, Lange und Söhne. There's loads of those watches over there. But there's a few jewelers, but they won't sell a Wenger. Was it Wenger? Bemper. So, yeah, they're great, but you can't really buy them there. So you have to go to Dresden to buy those watches. Glashütte shop is in Dresden. Yeah, they make fantastic watches. The whole Swiss idea of Swiss watches is really in between the ears. You see in Grand Seiko, even Citizen, higher parts of the Citizen range. Some of those watches, especially Seiko, Grand Seiko, they're really well made. Almost sometimes better finished and better made than many Swiss brands. Same is for Germany. But if I want a car, it has to be the Italian. If I want to have a watch, it has to be Swiss. If I want to have cheese, I want to go to Holland. If I want to have chocolate, I want to go to Belgium. If I want to have beer, it's bullshit, right? People are people. They make great stuff everywhere in the world. So it doesn't really matter where you get your stuff from as long as it's good. But Glashütte makes really nice watches, definitely. And the funny thing is, if you go to Dresden to the Glashütte store, you'll see watches in the watch shop. You can actually buy them. They're not for display only. They're not they're not non for sale. Yeah, you can walk in and buy them, but you got to pay 15 to 20,000 euros for a watch, and not everybody has that amount of money just laying around. Or I can't even spend more than 10,000 euros or less a day because my bank won't let me. They're like, no, you spend already that amount of money today. You can't get more money out of your bank. I'll have to change it. But I'm not that rich. I sold my house, but I'm still not that rich. Hopefully I can get a cottage here and pay a certain amount of front so that my mortgage will be a little bit lower. But yeah, I'm still not a rocket scientist, not getting the money in that way. And I did buy some crypto, but that was just a small amount of crypto to see what it's been doing, and it's just been crashing all day long. So I'm not going to tell you to go into crypto either. Gunny says, very well finished pieces approaching A. Lange quality with lots of heritage. Total sleep is on the secondary market. I mean, yeah, A. Lange has been around for since 1870 or even longer, because Lange was Adolf Lange was working in Dresden, and he found out this little town called Glashütte. He wanted to found a watch company there, and it's all in the video I sent. It's that he sent in the original papers of in the German Watch Museum. You can see the original request that he made, and he went there and he started his watch company, and all the houses in that little village, not all, but the majority of the houses, they all made certain watch parts. So one would make the escapement, the other house would make this and that. So they all worked together in that little town to make the certain kind of watches. And then Grossmann came in and Aschmann came in, and they made some beautiful pocket watches. That museum, if you ever get to Dresden, really, I would say if you go to Germany, go to Berlin, nice for a day or two, but then go to Dresden and visit Glashütte. Glashütte is nice for the museum and a walk around town because it's a beautiful little town. But for the watches themselves, you have to go to Dresden. And the thing is, I did film a lot of watch windows until somebody just came out and said, you stop that, because otherwise the police will come. Because supposedly as well on the big square in Dresden, there's a lot of police cameras. And if they see that you're only making pictures of what is in the watch windows, they're going to be really annoyed and probably ask you to delete all the pictures. So that's the reason why I couldn't make a video of the A Lange shop windows. I didn't really want to go that far. Holland is done, mate. Too crowded. Everything is overpriced except cheese. Well, even the cheap is up. And you actually know you can get Edam cheese cheaper here than you get in Holland. I understand your choice for leaving Holland. When I hit the age of 65, I'm off back to my roots, Turkey. My Dutch wife has suggested herself. Yeah, man. I think if you got some money, you go to Turkey. You buy yourself a nice little house somewhere in the Turkish sun. And the Turkish people in Turkey. I mean, I haven't had too many Turkish friends in Holland. Unfortunately, I had a lot of colleagues, and I think especially in Turkey, they're great people. They're very hospitality, and it's the same thing with Russian people. They're great. They're really hospitable people as well. Honestly, anybody knew that Bold and Bankrupt, the Russian video guy, the Englishman who went to Russia, to all kinds of outskirts in Russia, actually made his last video last week. So he said it's the end of the journey. It's over. And first I was really disappointed. I was like, he always made great videos. And then I found the controversy behind him, that he's actually kind of a pickup artist trying to find girls in all those places, but he doesn't put that on video. But so that was an interesting story behind him anyway. So yeah, it's 1 hour and 45 minutes, guys. It's 9:15. I think I'm going to relax on the couch a little bit longer. It was great to do a live show again. It was a really long time ago. Next time I'll try to get a live stream up where I can invite people to come in again. We'll have an old school get together with watch channels and have some fun. I'll try to find out what's up with that, Austin. I don't know. I'll check it out. Check out the new releases, the Ardonen or the Ardoden watches and so on. So I'll have to find out what those watches are all about. And I was about to talk about travel and everything. I think I talked about 1 hour and 40 minutes about watches, which is fine with me. Gonna have a look at the glass shooter videos. I have found out though I tend to be all over the place with the camera, and that's because when I'm somewhere, I always want to enjoy the moment where I am. So if I'm somewhere, I'll be enjoying myself, and I go like, oh shit, I gotta make a little video about this because I want to make a YouTube video or something. So then it's like a quick zoom, and it comes back. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. I'll figure it out later. And so the quality of my videos is not always that good, but that's because I don't go out to make videos. I go out to have fun, and I go like, oh, I should share this with people, and then I make a video. But that's like, oh, I got to make a quick photo, a quick video. It's the same with my whole travel videos. The best pictures, the best places you can't really get on video and photo, because that's while I'm driving, I see it, but I can't pick up my phone and start making pictures because the roads are just in need of attention. I even think I missed so many views while I'm just focusing on the driving itself. But if you can stop and you can make a nice picture, it's always nice. But the journey itself brings along so much more and nicer things to see. That's why I always say do it yourself as well, because the experience of just being on the road by yourself. I'm 43 now. I can sleep in the back of a Volkswagen van. That's no problem. If I'm 53 or 63, it might be bad for my back. So it's good now, and I'm doing it now, and I'm actually trying to get the van with Irish license plates so I can keep driving it here. And maybe in 5 to 10 years' time, I'm going to try to put some electrical stuff in there so that it will go for another 300,000 kilometers and have an electric van. Because if diesel's not going to go out because diesel is used in everything. So, but if I have to pay €5 for a liter of diesel at one point. Funny thing is, if you want to buy a package of cigarettes here in Ireland, it's €15. If you're going to go to Slovenia, you buy a package of cigarettes for €4. It's a difference of €11. In countries that in normal costs of normal shopping is about the same. So that's interesting. When you're back in the Netherlands, come and visit me. Mi casa, su casa. Mira, vamos a hacerlo. A mí me gusta mucho. So yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going to be back in Holland. I'll probably make a video about it. Look at me being in Holland. So yeah, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I think I'm going to end the stream here because it's 1 hour 50 minutes. I think it's enough. I should say this at the beginning, but I normally say if you want to watch any of my live videos, I always suggest do it as a podcast. So just turn it on and go do your laundry. You don't have to look at my ugly mug the whole night. If you like what I'm saying, just put it in your car in the background or whatever, and we'll see what happens then. He's nearby Enschede. Oh, that's nice. Eastern Holland. That's still a little bit quieter. Okay, guys, I wish you well. Tom, thank you for joining me. Greg, Gunny, there were other people here as well. Let me say Junior Johnson was here. There's probably a lot of people watching that are not commenting, which is fine. Scout 1874. Thanks a lot, guys. And we'll see you for the next live show. Maybe from another location as soon as I got my apartment here. That would be nice. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a beer. It's Saturday night. Cheers. Ciao, bye. And